Ladies and gentlemen, good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are on Earth. Welcome to this studio today and for this introduction of virtual gliding. We will talk a lot during the briefing about what it is all about and what we will do today and in the future. And then we will go fly in Condor and we will have the delegates and the president of the Air Sports Commission of the FAI joining us to watch what you are doing today and hopefully give even more inspiration on their commission for new esports stuff. So I invite you now to join us for the briefing. So today, 5th of March, as you can see, first briefing for this first event. We will have plenty of things to talk about. You will see that in a few seconds with Jean-David. I will show you. So we will talk basically about the presentation of FAI virtual gliding, then about the new website, about as well the proposal that was approved by the delegates yesterday, the events to come. So I will present you all the events. Then we will talk about how to validate an FAI championship, how to join us, what will be the schedule today. We'll talk about the schedule now and then later as well, because it will be a very long briefing. Scoring class for today for the task 18-meter class, weather task, and so on. We'll fly to from Innsbruck and land back to Innsbruck today. So in Austria, it's going to be very fun. Few stuff about flight safety. And then if you have questions, you can ask questions already as from now in the chat, and Sebastian will tell me about those questions, and I will try to answer those questions in live. So it's a kind of you and I talking today. I try to present you what's going on and what we will do, and then you can ask your question and try to answer like this. And then the delegates will come. They are still in a meeting for about 1 hour, and we will start the flight. So the schedule for today, as you can see, it's not the same. So we have had to adapt it this morning. The delegates are running late on schedule today. So we will try to postpone a little bit the start of the flight and the start of the race today, unfortunately. So I will give quite a long briefing, and hopefully we'll have some questions to ask as well, so we can spend more time together while waiting for them. So briefing for 40 minutes, I think, then we will start to launch the servers. Stop join will be longer than what we planned. So we will have plenty of time to join. Then 5 to 10 minutes before the line opens, it's going to be a regatta start. Then the race is actually 40 to 50 minutes, probably. Then some interviews, maybe if we can catch some of you, depending on the question as well and how it works. And we will maybe talk about virtual gliding for the delegates later as well. So you may hear twice the same thing sometimes. It's normal. Then end of the live streaming at around 16 UTC. There will be 4 servers, guys, or 40 pilots. Why? Because we are almost 140 pilots now. We need to fly safely. So that will be shown like this. So like this, IGC plenum demo, and then you will see A, B, C, and D. Try to grab the A if you can, then go to the B, C, and D. Thanks. So then, well, you know that we started this with the first virtual Sailplane Grand Prix World Finals 2021 last year. We had 2 formula, an official contest with 20 pilots from 20 countries. Why? Because it was the first time we did a world event like this. So we wanted only to have 1 pilot per country to have good representation of the countries in the world from different continents and so on, not only a European contest. So it was very important for us to have this. And then we had an open event where everyone could join to fly and try to do the races and to beat those guys who were really, really good. It was an absolute pleasure to watch those races and to comment those races last year. From then on, the IGC and the FAI were very happy, and they immediately started to talk about what if we could do a virtual wall gliding championship now, so we can spread and have more pilots joining us rather than only 20 pilots with that Sailplane Grand Prix formula. So that's the next step now. So I will show you the proposal now that has been approved. So the proposal was submitted by the IGC Bureau. It is to create an FAI IGC International Virtual Gliding Competition Series, which then becomes a virtual wall gliding championship, and to propose to FAI a creation of virtual category of FAI licenses, and I will explain you why later, for participation in virtual air sports world championships. Aim of the proposal to provide opportunity for people worldwide to participate in an international FAI event, and aiming as well to promote gliding worldwide and to have more and more pilots actually flying gliders in the world. Even if you live in the middle of nowhere and there are no airfield, if you are passionate, you need to be able to fly if you want to do so. Then second part of the proposal for you. So basically, just explain that as a result of the success of the Sailplane Grand Prix in 2021, where we had 410 pilots competing in total, they wanted to run again a virtual SGP for the 11th series. So that's going to be a second virtual SGP. And basically, we started to think about, as I said, virtual wall gliding championship that would attract both current glider pilots and many pilots who may aspire to compete in glider contests. The reach of virtual gliding events will certainly bring a much wider interest in our sport. So that was one of the main reasons as well. Then the venue for this virtual gliding stuff event will be subjected to a bidding process. Okay. Then this FAI International Virtual Gliding Series would be managed by a team appointed by the FAI IGC Bureau, meaning that there would always be people working between the IGC and this FAI Virtual Gliding group, meaning that there are a lot of people talking about the rules, regulation to build new events, because it's very difficult to build those kind of events with new rules, because we are used to fly with only 20 pilots for SGP, or we can fly with 150 pilots, meaning 50 pilots per class in World Gliding Championship. And now it's going to be hundreds of pilots for World Gliding Championship. So it's going to be different than what we're used to do, and we need to modify those rules in the future. Then basically, this working group will report annually to FAI IGC what's going on, discussion about the plan, the achievements, and so on. And of course, the winners of the FAI International Virtual Gliding events would receive FAI Virtual Air Sports diplomas and medals first, and then the official ones. I will show you why later. If we can have that on the screen, I think it's going to arrive in a few seconds. Thanks. So that's what I was talking about. So you can read it. And then the next one is about FAI virtual gliding. Thanks. So basically, we have had already around 25 to 30 people who have worked on this initiative for the setup of all of this, on the regulation for the championships, on the landscapes, huge development of landscape actually, to be able to cope with the demand that we have with virtual Sailplane Grand Prix, for example. Then so we have this working group that is being set up actually. And then, yeah, you can read it yourself. Basically, we just want to promote gliding worldwide and to train new pilots worldwide uh, on a single platform. So that's the new platform that you will see. And to make the structure reliable, I will explain why as well later. We decided to divide it into two parts: organizing and broadcasting, uh, both in terms of finances and in terms of organization, meaning that you don't need to be able to organize the task and to plan and to be an expert in Condor to be able to broadcast the races. So it's kind of not the same work. So now, next, our events. So basically, new esports website is virtualgliding.fai.org. Previously, it was esports.sgp.aero, if you remember this. So that's the new one. There are 3 events right now. There may be more later. So the second FAI Virtual SGP, the first one, following on to the great success of our first virtual SGP and so on, 410 pilots, we do another virtual SGP contest. There will be 10 qualifying national events instead of 9. So there is one more, meaning that there will be more pilots qualified in the final, and then there will be a world final in Pavulo at the same time at the same time as the 11th FAI SGP World Final in August 2023. You will see the schedule just next. Basically, the aim with this format is to fly as close as we can from the real rules and to fly as close as we can from what the real pilots are doing. And it's kind of the elite of these sports with regatta races and so on. We are still working on the rules for the virtual SGP because we need to have very good regulation now because there are only 20 pilots that are supposed to compete, and now we will be like 200 pilots for each national event. I think maybe even more. So we need to adapt the ruling and the scoring because if only the 10 first score points, then it's not going to be funny for the other ones, and you will quit the game as soon as you see that you cannot make it in the top 9 or top 10. So we need to adapt all those rules. It's being processed now. It's going to be over 1,000 points, and it's going to decrease gradually, basically, to have a fair amount of points and to kind of match the SGP spirit there. So every evening of the real SGP event, you will be able to fly the virtual races to be able to compete basically and to qualify for the world final. And there will be as well probably only 5 or 6 of the best races that will be taken into account instead of the 7th, because as you know, we are flying virtually, and sometimes you can have uh, an issue with your computer. You can have a blue screen with Condor. You can maybe have a media collision. Unfortunately, it happens before the start and so on, and then you're stuck and you lost all your effort during the week. So we don't want this. So it's going to be probably a top 6 of the best races for this. I think that's it for this. You have the full planning here, and you'll be able to find more info on the website. So the rules, as I said, we're still working on it. If you click on download, actually you will get the SGP rules version 11, I think, which are the latest version, so you can see what SGP is all about. And we are almost finished with those rules, V1. So yeah, again, I would like to thank the people who are working on this because we are trying to find really the good rules for this, because we don't want to make new rules every year. We try to find the good format for this SGP to be as close as we can from SGP in the SGP spirit and so on. So it's very difficult to manage that, but it works pretty well, I think. And yeah, thanks again to the team who is working on this. Then results. Well, the results will be available on the website, but as you know, we are using Condor Club for the registration and scoring parts. But we will implement the results via this website. You will see there will be a button there. You will be able to click and you will get to another web page where you will find all the results from all qualifying events and so on. So it's going to be very nice. And you will see then who qualified or not. The basic rule is that the top 2 pilots qualify to the world final, and then the third one is in the reserve list. Sorry. And for example, if the one of the 2 pilots cannot come to the world final, cannot do the event, he's busy or whatever, then the pilot who is on the reserve list of that event will be invited to replace the guy who cannot come, basically. Then schedule. Well, just to show you how to find more info on the events, it's gonna be you're gonna find much more info later on. It's very basic so far, but basically you just click on schedule, then you select. You have quite a lot of events. Today it's FAI Sports Series. Then you have FAI second virtual SGP and so on, and you can select your event. So you will see next for Boras what we have. So we will start the registration of the first events of the second virtual SGP in about 10 days. Okay, we need to complete the rules to be able to start the registration of the events. Basically, so Boras is going to be the first one, and you will already get a lot of info on this page. You can go to the next one, JD, and then you can see as well good info like landscape, very important because there are a lot of new landscapes. So as you can see, there is Boas version 1.0. So with this initiative, we are very lucky because we have a lot of talented people working on this. And they have developed actually a lot of landscape already, or they have extended their landscapes. So like West Balkans has become West Balkan 2.0, and it's much wider. Same for East Germany. It's being extended now. In Lithuania as well, it's going to be extended. In Boras, you have a new landscape. For Poland, in SAR, you will be able, guys, to get that landscape for free instead of paying for CWC. You will all get the landscape for free thanks to Milos Koch with helping us and with helping the community to grow. So I would like to thank him once again for this. You will get all the info on Condor Club and on this website. It will be kind of duplicated on the website and on condor.club. So we'll get all those info. Make sure that you have latest Hangar version, latest version of Condor, and the latest landscape. Then the most interesting part, well, one of the most interesting parts, something new. It has been approved by the delegates, this new event. As you can see, we call it a World Cup now. Why? Because you, the Condor community, are already aware that there is a Condor World Cup and so on. So we talked with the guy who've made that Condor World Cup, and basically we presented them the project, and they would be happy as well to work on this. And we said, well, everyone knows what a World Cup is. We cannot call it yet Virtual World Gliding Championship, and we like to use that name as well. So I want to tell you that we will do that. And they were very open for this and quite happy with what we were doing. So it was really nice to have those guys. They will probably work with us as well in the future. So thanks again for this. Basically, that's the first step, this Virtual World Cup. And then it will become in the future Virtual World Gliding Championship. And I will explain you why. But what you must remember is that we want to attract as many people as we can in those events. And we want this Virtual World Gliding Championship to be hosted every year by a country where gliding is not developed yet, meaning there is already a virtual sailplane Grand Prix. There are a lot of events in Europe already for gliding. It's very European sport. We want to develop it worldwide. There are almost 200 countries in the world. So for sure, we don't want to fly in France in next winter, or in Germany, or in Poland. We want to fly somewhere where there are maybe 1 or 2 gliding clubs, but not more. Basically, we want to develop gliding worldwide. So that's why we are doing it. Then, so this event will take place over 14 weeks, I think. That's the plan, between mid-October, mid-December. with 2 races per week. Kind of the same as Condor World Cup, probably. But yeah, it's gonna be like this with 14 race days. Next, that's the most important thing for us, how to validate an official FAI championship. So we have problem with the naming of this, so World Cup and not Virtual Wargaming Championship. Why? Because you need 2 things to have it working. That's why we are doing at least one event as a World Cup, and then it will merge into a Virtual Wargaming Championship, because we need to have the correct rules. Because today we fly with maximum 50 pilots in those WGCs, and now we fly with 400 pilots. So maybe 1,000 pilots in 1 year or 2 years. We don't know what may happen in the future. So we need to adapt the rules first and to have the good rules for everyone to be able to compete. That's important. Then we need to, well, you need to, the pilots, you need to have an FAI license. Otherwise, the event cannot be official. That's the biggest problem. And you cannot have FAI medals, and you cannot get official diplomas neither. So it's very important. So that's why we are doing this, because now the national aero clubs, so there are 101 members in the FAI, so meaning 101 countries out of 200 countries that are working with the FAI and approved by the FAI. So the pilots that do not live in those countries or have another citizenship from another country can get already today an FAI license because their countries is not in the list. But if you are from France, from Sweden, from Germany or whatever, you need to get your license through your NAC. The FAI cannot give you that. So the NAC now, they need to put in place a virtual pilot license, basically. So you would just apply for this, and then you have your FAI license for free, basically. So the price of this license, we would like it to be at around 10 euros, something like this for the NACs. That's the NACs who will decide. We don't have the option for this. Today, basically, we would already be able to do a virtual World Rallying Championship with official medals and diplomas, but I think only 30 to 60% of the pilots now flying Condor fly as well in real, and so would be able to get that FAI license already. So we have the option: either we do this winter 2 events with 1 official and 1 open event with real medals and fake medals, if I can say like this, or we stay like this, and I think we'll stay like this with everyone doing this virtual World Cup, and then it will merge into a virtual World Rally Championship once everyone is able to get an FAA license properly. So now our requirement is that the NACs implement virtual pilot license. It's very important for us. It's going to be done in France next year, I think. And with this approval that has been, this proposal, sorry, that has been voted to a very large majority, then we will have those virtual pilot license that should get in, I think. Then you don't even need a virtual pilot license if you already fly for real. So in gliding, in skydiving, ballooning, whatever, as long as you are registered in a club that is recognized by your NAC, then you are already able to get an FAI license. So you don't need to pay for that. Then, yeah, as I said, we invite all NACs worldwide to provide this option, and it will happen for sure. So the delegates will join us later, and there will be as well all the eSports Commission president, as I said, and they will be looking for this as everyone is trying to implement this in their commission. Okay, that's, in my opinion, the best thing that the community can do. Okay. We call it eSports series because it's kind of very general term. So what is it? This thing, it's what we call our laboratory. Okay, we want to be able to test out any formats anyone would like to try. So if you have a good idea, you think SGP is not good enough, or World Gliding Championship is not good enough, or whatsoever. I would like to fly over 3 or 4 mountains like this, just do some laps or whatever. If you have some imagination, or there is something that you would like to try, we can just organize an event, small event, like 1, 2, 3 days maximum, and we try the concept. We're like, okay, let's go, let's try it, and the community can join. It's all free events like this. We just want people to be able to join and to have fun, basically. It can be an event just to promote gliding somewhere in the world. Let's say, for example, tomorrow Japan want to develop, sorry, more gliding, and we already have the World Gliding Championship, the virtual WGC somewhere else. We cannot do that, so maybe we'll plan an event around Mount Fuji or whatever. It can be anything, guys. I think that's the most interesting part of this project. It's that anyone can offer a great way of racing, a new way of racing, and maybe it will be the sport of tomorrow, and we don't know it yet. So just, guys, contact us. There is a contact form. Send us your wishes. If you can just take a PowerPoint, write some stuff down. Any idea is good, and then we can try to talk about it and try to see how we could implement it. Because in Condor we can do basically whatever we want, and that's pretty amazing for us. You There is no issue, and you're not gonna die if things don't go well. So we can try whatever we want, and that's really absolutely amazing for us. So now we are going to talk about the registration. So Virtual SGP and Virtual World Cup are official events, and the eSports series is unofficial, meaning that we are not under FAI regulations. There are no rules. We invent the rules and we do what we want, and then we offer to IGC if there is something amazing that we discovered. We can offer new rulings. Anyway, so registration is just for those 2 official events. What we require from you is a very modest fee. Why? Because we need to have a reliable structure. It's very well explained in the about section why we need that, but we need to pay for the website, for the servers, for Discord. We would like to implement more stuff on Discord for the community, for the medals right now, for diplomas and so on. It's gonna come. Then we need to send this worldwide. Anyway, it's a huge organization. We think that €3 per event is not a lot, so that's for 7 races, or €15 for all events. We're gonna do probably more than 10 events each year, so it's gonna be like 1.5 euros, sorry, for 7 races every time. So it's not a lot, and we want to keep it as low as we can because we want to have people worldwide. €3 in France or in Sweden or Norway or in Europe, it's nothing. But we want people in Asia, we want people in South America, all over the world to be able to come and join the races. We don't want this to be a barrier, and we want everyone to be able to be on board, because there is no money to make on that point, honestly. So it's really not the goal for this. So I will show you how it works, basically. So how to register and so on, kind of steps. So there are 3 steps. You have the link of the website. You can see that on Virtual SGP. On top, there is written register. You can click on this and you have this web page, or in the about section and so on, you can find this again. But it's register now, basically. So first thing, buy Condor if you don't have it. We will get an affiliate link with Condor soon. So you will be able to come through our website and be redirected to Condor, and then you can buy Condor on their website. Then you need to register via condor.club. So we are partnering with condor.club, and you can register there as you do, as you are used to do for the people that are here today flying with us. And you can send your files for the scoring and so on. That's how we start. Then we will see later if we need to have something bigger or whatever, but we'll do it like this for now. All the results will be forwarded to our website anyway at some point. So we will see, even if we can implement maybe in the future, upload from our website to go straight to Condor.club and so on. We will see. So once it's done, basically we have all your information. We can see your name, surname, where you come from. So it's important for us as well, because we need to be able to follow the rules and regulation. You are aware that Russia and Belarus pilots are not are suspended from the sport actually, and they are not able to join the events. So that's the same for us. They cannot join the event either. So we have to check that there is no Russian or Belarus pilot flying. We can do that via Condor, and we can basically block their access to the races. So that's how we check that you paid the fee as well, basically. So then you need to pay a fee. Either you've paid straight away the annual membership and you don't need to pay anything anymore, or you can just try. Or for example, you are just available for a week. You want to try to compete to a virtual SGP, you just pay €3, and then you can do all the races during this week. And if you like it, then you take the annual membership. It works like this. So it's very easy. You will see now the steps, how we would like to implement everything. So when you click on that buy Condor thing, you will see a web page explaining a bit what Condor is and how it works to join us and to be able to compete to our events. So the first thing to do once you have Condor is to learn how to fly. So there are already in-flight lessons built in Condor, and you can already learn how to fly straight, how to turn right, left, and so on, how to take your first thermals, and so on. It's very, very nice to learn how to fly, and I hope that we will be able to implement more lessons in the future for everyone worldwide, and maybe there will be something on the website to get the lessons in your language and so on. So that would be really nice, but it needs to a lot of people from the community willing to do it, so we can do that. Then you must understand the sky, so that's kind of understanding how the ridges, the waves, the thermals work, and so on. And once you control your aircraft and you know how it works, you can start to play online. So you just join any server list. So we give that link towards the server link at the bottom of Start to Play Online, and you can just play with your friend like this, and then in the end you can start probably your first events with the eSports series stuff that we will do. You come, you have fun on this, and once you're ready, you come and you do the official events for the FAI. But that's the steps to follow if you've never flown an aircraft. Learn, then understand, start to play to gain some experience, and then you will be able to come and play with us for the virtual World Gliding Championship, and later for the best of the best, the virtual Sailplane Grand Prix. That's how it will work. So now, two options. Don't forget to drink, it's very important, even on the ground. Option one, so single event fee, as I said, €3. It's very easy just to try out, and then the annual membership is €15. 10 events, €1.5. I said everything I think about it. It's very easy. You know, esports, it requires quite some money, less than real gliding, but quite some money. When you have a huge team working behind the scene, well, we spend a lot of time, but what we need is really material, like a mic, headset, everything, like a new computer every 3 years, basically. That's how it works. A new screen. You need a lot of things. What we want to do is keep those pricing as low as we can, because we want to get sponsors next to it, so we can buy materials to be able to grow and to be able to pay people who are able to do 3D animations of things like this. Basically, it's very difficult to get the correct people working on good thing to be able to develop this. So yeah, we just want you to be able to cover the fees to pay the website, the servers, the Discord, and so on, because we want this to continue even in 3 or 4 years if the development of the broadcasting thing does not work. That's very important for us. We need to secure this so we can all continue to fly together virtually, whatever happens. And if it doesn't work in 5 years, then we can try to set it back in 10 years, and we will do it like this. But basically, if we can get sponsors for the live streaming and to be able to develop the live streaming, so we have attracting things, and we can try to get more and more audience and promote gliding worldwide, that would be absolutely amazing for us. So that's what we plan to do. Then, well, maybe you have some talents in something. For example, as I said, organizing things. You've organized already like 5 events on Condor Club. You know how to set the task with the weather perfectly. You know how to develop 3D animation stuff. You know anything, or just apply if you want. We all work voluntarily for sure for now, but what we try to do is to produce the material in the future for the people who want to work on this. So that's the main idea behind this. If you are really good, if you work in the audiovisual world, then it's amazing. Voila, commentator, designer, 3D animation, live broadcast, anything. Basically, there are only 5 or 6 roles written here, but just apply for whatever reason. If you have good ideas, you're always welcome in the team. Honestly, there are already 20 people working here, so just contact us. It's very, very easy. Then we continue with the Discord. So you are probably already all in the Discord, but if you're not, please join us. You can find it on the home page or on the About page. I think to follow us, you should have a link or a button where it's written like join us on Discord, or you have this link below. We will do a poll very soon to ask the community what they want to do, because we want to implement training races for the virtual SGPs first. We think that it would be nice to have it at least 2 days per week, but we don't want to block some other communities that have already done some stuff and so on. So it's we want it to be to complete the offer actually, and not to overcome anyone who has done already some good things and who have set up thousands of servers. We don't want to do this, so we want to implement it properly with everyone willing to fly those races. We don't want just to launch 10 servers and then there is 1 or 2 guys flying. We want you to be able to join and to do those training tasks. All training tasks are always going to be free as well. Even for virtual SGP, the days before is going to be free. So you just come, you join, and if you like, then you can continue and do the events with us. Don't forget, so the first race will be on Boras CWC. That will be free, and with as well Lietuva 1.0. In the About section, you can have even more info about what I've talked about. If you wonder, basically it's 6 whys, who, why, what, whatever, how. You can understand what is behind our minds and what we will do in the future. If you missed some of the slides already, so just go there and find the info you like. And if you don't find, just send us a mail or via the contact form, and we'll be very happy to answer. Then the broadcasting part, we have basically the live thing, what you will see with Condor. Then we have 2D tracking with QNAB. We'll have 3D tracking and 3D animation. We don't have 3D animation today. It requires quite some time to create the animations and so on. But for the next events, we will try to have some 3D animation to explain you the task and so on, and to show to the public what it looks like. Then we do new formats with eSports series. We do feedbacks. We will probably ask you a lot of things, send you some stuff and some questions, and hopefully we'll answer those things so we can all go in the same direction and make this progress in the work in the future. Okay, so I think we will soon talk about the race, but first, the live streaming is available on Twitch or on virtualgliding.fai.org/live. Then you can ask a lot of questions in the chat. It's very easy, and I try to answer later. There is a slide with question, and that's where I'm supposed to talk about it. You have news stuff. So we talked about Goaler, we talked about this event and launch of the FAI Virtual Gliding Initiative. I took back all the articles that were on eSport.sgp.aero, for example. So you can review, for example, the races from the first virtual SGP with some nice text about it. You can see Benfest winning the title and so on. So it's pretty fun. So yeah, just look at it and have fun. Then yeah, social medias. So we've launched all our channels basically on Facebook, on Twitch, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Discord. Just join us. You can get access to it via our website as well on the top right corner, and that's it. So now, schedule of the day. Where are we now? It looks good. I think servers have started to open, so you can already join. I'll give you the briefing in a few seconds. We can continue for that. So there are 4 servers, don't forget about it. Scoring, you're used to it, guys. Just go to Condor.clubs, upload your FTR file, sorry, and then it's all good to be there. Don't forget, before you join in, you can go to the next slide. 18-meter class only today, but 48 kilogram per meter square, please, maximum. So be careful with your wing loading. 48 kilogram per meter square. Don't rush when joining, otherwise you will get penalties. And we worked with Condor.club for us to be able to apply those kind of penalties. You can use one of the sailplane here, so the Antares, ASG29, DG808, GS1, GS3, Ventus 3, all in the 18-meter format. Now, the weather, guys, very interesting. Be careful about that wind. It's a very, very good day. I've flown the task already. So wind from the southeast, 165 for 12 kilometers per hour. Wind is at 20 kilometers at 3,000 meters, 20 kilometers per hour. Wind is 60 kph at 5,000 meters. Very strong thermals, 2.5 to 4 meters, maybe 5. Ceiling 2,500 to 3,000 meters. Quite some cumulus clouds. The wave is strong, and some cirrus clouds on the way. So ridges are going to be good, but not as good as you would expect when you see that sky. So be careful for that. Then the task of the day. Today is the same day as what is planned in the sim, 0503-2022 at 14 UTC. Airborne start, guys, 2080 meters QNH, 122 kilometers. Start from Magdeburger at 2,300 meters maximum. TP1 Heiterwang with a small cylinder of 500 meters. Then Mills with cylinder 500 meters. Reporting point at Seefelder, same diameter. Then the finish line at Innsbruck, line 250 meters, and altitude minimum altitude, 800 meters. Be careful. We can check as well the max ground speed. So try to fly not too fast. You will see the start line is very close to the mountain. Actually, you can pass the start line while being on the ridge. So control your speed, control your energy, and be careful with this. Max 170 kph, maximum altitude 2,300 meters. Minimum altitude, as I said, 800 meters QNH here, and Innsbruck is 580 meters QNH. And the arrival is going to be very easy for you. So you will see you will pass through a lot of small ridges on the arrival, and then you will see that that line, that finish line. You can pass wherever you want there. You can overfly the airfield. You can do a low pass after the 800 meters, and then you just join the right hand downwind. Please try to land on one of the two grass runways that you can see. There is a long one and a short one. If there are too many people here, you can use the other runway, the paved runway, the very long runway, and you land whenever you want. Basically, it's very easy. The airport is very well done in Condor, so you will have no problem, no issue, I think, for this. Then just a few words about safety. We always try to do that in our briefing. You're used to it. So just a few words about TEM. What's TEM? It's threats and error management. So threats, it's like fatigue, experience, so lack of experience, the attitude, if you don't behave well, the weather, maybe you don't have a lot of wind on the ridges today, obstacles, over traffic. Errors, that's incorrect calculation or inputs, things like this, basically. Inaccurate planning, mishandling of the aircraft, and a threat plus an error can lead to an UAS, undesired state aircraft, undesired aircraft state, sorry. So it's an unintended situation resulting in a reduction of safety margins, and they can lead to accidents. They often lead to incidents or accidents. So very be careful with that today. So what are the threats for today? You can go to the next JD. Thanks. So you're racing today. Hopefully you are not 160 pilots in the same server. So we have splits. We have, yeah, you are in 4 different servers. So 40 pilots per server. You're racing. There are a lot of excitement and a lot of gliders around you with the Regatta Start. Be careful. It's going to be very, very buzzy the first kilometers. Then you will probably split into 2 groups, one going straight forward and one going to the right, you will see. Then the weather is really good, but 18-meter class with full ballast or even 48 kilo per meter square, as you should do today, it is difficult to control, okay? Take margins, don't be too close to the ridges to avoid entering an undesired aircraft state and lose control of the aircraft. Be careful, try to enter the thermals properly as well. Watch out, always try to identify the threats and anticipate what may happen before a flight. So the questions, I don't know if I have questions, and I think there are some questions. I will check with the guys. But anyway, we will probably jump into the 3D Studio in a few seconds. And then I will be joined by Stefan Langer today. So you probably know Stefan. He's flying in the German gliding team. And he is a famous YouTuber in gliding. Enjoy the flight, guys. Join time elapsed in like 15 minutes, and then the race starts in about 25 minutes. So let's get back to that studio. Thanks a lot for joining this very long briefing. And I will welcome now Stefan with me. Good afternoon, Stefan. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Great to be here. It's really a great project, and I'm hoping that more and more younger pilots as well try to fly Grand Prix online first and then get into real competition flying, Grand Prix flying. It's so much fun.
Thanks a lot. Well, yeah, it's the first time we're doing this. There are quite a lot of people watching. I think so. It's really nice. We should have the delegates joining us in about 10 minutes, and then we will start the race. Yeah, you've already flown on Condor, I think.
Yes, for sure. I'm not the one who is flying big competitions on Condor so far. I prefer flying in real life, but during winter it's really great thing, and also the competition forms and so on to experience it in Condor. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's going to be one of the most interesting things, indeed, to just experience new stuff that we could do in real life one day. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this, and I would like to say thanks again to all the people who've worked on this project. It was a lot of work for more than 6 months to try to develop uh, new rules, to merge the ideas and to see what would be the best to do for this or that. It was very interesting to do.
Yes, thank you all so much. I can only imagine how much work and effort this was, and yeah. So
Thanks a lot. Yeah, so we have a comment there. I didn't know FAI was doing this. I will have to look into it. Definitely very interested. This will be a great learning tool for new cross-country pilots like me. That's one of the main reasons, actually, why we've done that, because we have a big issue in our sport. We can fly in summer, but often in winter, if you fly in flatlands, then you are stuck on the ground and you cannot fly. So you lose your experience if you are a young pilot or you started very like 3 months ago or whatever. So you can continue to learn in winter, and then when you get back in the glider, you can improve in flight and you can get your license even quicker. And for the people who've never been able to fly cross country, you can start flying cross country here on Condor, and then it's going to be much easier for the instructors coming to just show you how it works. Definitely.
did you speak German? Is it for you, Antoine?
I don't think so, man. No, I'm really happy because I don't speak German. So even if you have a question in German, just ask them, and Stefan will answer, and then he will translate for sure.
Yes, but I won't translate it to French.
Yeah, I can do it as well in French. Yeah, but so I haven't tell it yet, but we have doing this live streaming on several platforms, including your YouTube channel. So yeah, thanks a lot, because it gives a lot of exposure to what we are doing today.
Yeah,
So
thank
it's
you so
really
much
nice.
for the spontaneous thing.
Yeah.
Sorry for my late reply, or yeah.
Don't worry. No, it's really good to have you today. Everyone knows you in the gliding world, so it's very cool to start like this. I hope we will invite a lot of pilots in the future, just like to come on a race and comment and try to have fun doing this. Maybe you can discover yourself a talent later. Maybe some people, maybe they are amazing commentators, and there are probably going to be some people wanting to join us. I've talked with a guy from the USA a few days ago, and he would be super interested actually to comment the races. Like, he really likes it, and he has done that for other sports already. So it's really amazing with this to see new people coming and very interested in what is being done now.
Yeah, what I also like is to fly in different countries, not only in Germany, flying like in Bosnia and Herzegovina, in Sweden, and so on. That's the fun side of flying competition, and especially of flying sailplane Grand Prix, because
Yeah.
also the qualification is not in your home country, it's somewhere else, and you can experience so much more. It's like an adventure, and also in the virtual flying, it's great to change the location, and there it's not connected to any fees.
Yeah, I understand that very well. I think some pilots are already in the air. Just a few words about yeah, Condor. So that's the software we are using now. As I said, we have a lot of info about Condor on our website. You have their website as well. There is a redirect link going from our website to their website. It's basically the best tool to practice gliding, soaring, sailing, depending on where you come from. We use different words. Then just a word about just soaring. So I think you have just soaring sim. Just you're sitting in your sim actually right now.
Yeah.
That's really great. So that's they have sponsored the first Mr. SGP last year. And they have offered one of their sim to Benfest, who was the first virtual SGP World Final champion. And yeah, they're trying to develop very nice sims for the virtual pilots. And yeah, I think some of the pilots flying now are using this sim, so it's really nice to see. There is as well a redirect link to check out what Just Ring is on our website. Shall we jump into the race?
Yes, for sure.
Let's go. So that's a GS3.
Yeah, what are you flying most of the time? You have the possibility to fly J3 as well, aren't you?
I like the GS3. I like the GS3 a lot in 18 meters, even in 15 meters. It's really nice. But yeah, the Ventus 3 is good as well. I think at 48 48 kilo per meter square, the Ventus is a little bit better maybe. But yeah, the pilots are on the ridges there waiting. So they started airborne already, and they are waiting before the start. It's going to be Regatta Start today, just like SGP, so very interesting. And by the way, did you use Condor to discover Livno in Bosnia and Herzegovina, or not, for example, or maybe in Sweden before going there?
Not yet. I was in Bosnia, I think 3 years ago or so.
Yeah.
There I just went there and flew there, but afterwards I flew then in Condor, and it was great to see the landscape which you already experienced in real life. And I think in Sweden it is not so important, because there it's more flat land, and the difficult part is to make an outlanding and to stay out of the lakes and the forests and so on. So it's more for the mountain areas there. The Condor preparation is a big advantage here.
Yep. Tamas, my yeah. Good afternoon, Tamas. How about the penalties for overspeed starts or overweight? Well, you've flown the SGP already, and so it's going to be basically the same rules, and we are making sure that it's going to be applied within Condor.club. We have worked with them so they can implement this, and it's supposed to work. So you will upload your FTR file, and then we will see if effectively it works very well or not. It's a test as well. Every time there is something new that we implement. So the eSports series stuff is made as well to test new formats, but that's where to test scoring and some stuff for the future. So thanks, Julien. Great idea. What it will soar for all your efforts. Yeah, thanks a lot. I hope we will be able to develop this in the future.
And can we see which type of glider the most of the pilots are using here? If it's the JS3, the Ventus 3, or the ASG29, or they just fly what they like to?
Yeah. So a lot of GS3s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then Ventus 3. Some Ventus 3, yeah, but a lot of GS3, and I think I know why. Just checking.
Wow. Everyone is flying J3.
Yeah. Oh, there is a question. How can I see ground speed in Condor? Yeah, so there is Cotata. That's a tool that Condor Pilot I used to use, basically. But what you should do is just understand how it's going and what's going on. So you will have to start at maximum 2,300 meters. So you need to take into account that if you fly higher than the ground, then your ground speed is going to be higher than 170 kph if you reach just 170. Probably today you should start at 140 kph because there is like 12 kph behind you, pushing you with the wind, plus with the altitude. If you start at 160, you will get penalties. So try to fly at 140 kph, I would say. Any cloud flying penalties? Some Condor models have horizon. I think they don't have those ones, GS3 and Ventus 3 in Condor, but maybe in the Ventus 3 actually, but I'm not sure. And yes, there are cloud penalties, and it's very easy to see that in the files. It's recorded in Condor, and then it applies when you upload your flight to condor.club. You get the penalty associated with cloud flying.
Yeah, there was the comment that everyone should fly relaxed in the thermals and don't be too aggressive. It's like in a real competition.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's true.
Mid-air collision or so.
Yeah, no mid-air collision. We don't want that. And actually, we talked a lot about that while working on the new virtual rules, because you can get a mid-air collision without making a mistake. Like, for example, we've had some servers issue because there was a lot of internet traffic around the world due to a big event, and then the servers were lagging a little bit, and two pilots they had a media collision because of this. Actually, not because they didn't fly well, but they were in a strong thermal, in very narrow thermal, and they just collided just because of the lag. The guy in front lagged and collided. So that's why we will probably implement the recovery of the aircraft in case of mid-air collision, but they will get a penalty of like 200 points. So they can still continue to fly, but they get a strong penalty, and yeah, and it's not great.
So we only have 2.5 minutes left till the start line is open.
I think so. Yeah, 3 minutes max. Yeah. Can we zoom on that? Well, that's so the pilots are waiting just next to the start line now, and then they will have to go to the northwest.
There's one flying really far away. I don't think that he will be at the correct point
time.
at the start line open.
We will
He's
see
just
that.
testing how the ridges are working and the weather conditions, but with the Grand Prix start, the gate is open and the time will count from this point, so it doesn't make sense to be so far away at this time.
Yeah, I'm just checking if we are 3 minutes away from racing or from stop join.
Okay.
140 now. From stop join, yeah. So then they have, I think, 5 more minutes. So he should be able to get back to the place, and then that's going to be very interesting because, as you can see, from the start line to TP1, there are two options. Either you go to the north quickly and you follow the ridges to the north of the track, or you can just follow the track, go to those southern ridges. So the wind is coming from the south, so it should be very good as well here. You can maybe end up a little bit higher than on the northern ridges, and then you can fly straight to TP1. So there are going to be two options for sure. I'm 100% sure it's going to be split into two parts there. And yeah, and then it's gonna be difficult between TP1, TP2. Probably they're gonna have some trouble maybe to pass over one of those mountains here, and then it's gonna be very easy afterwards to get back to the airfield. 122 kilometers today, and very short task because it's really a demo. So delegates and the people from the FAI can watch it and just don't spend 3 hours watching and understanding what's going on. It's really just to show them the main things really that we are doing.
But I think it's also great when flying sailplane Grand Prix that the tasks are not so long. It's for 2 or 2.5 hours, 3 hours perhaps, but not longer. And you can use the day a little bit different as well. You start at noon, and then you're back far before the dinner. So yeah, you have some time also on the ground to relax and don't need to wait the whole day in the air to start the task.
Yeah, and so what's your plan for SGP this year?
My plan is to go to Sweden in May, and then to Bosnia and Herzegovina if it's possible. We don't know. The world is crazy at the moment, but yeah, both places I was already flying there, and yeah, I really love the people there. Great landscape and something different than Germany.
Yeah. I think Livno is really cool. Those both SGP are really cool. I think I will be in Boras as well, but as a referee. Yeah, I
Wow,
will be
great.
a referee for the IGC, so I will be on the ground doing some stuff. It's gonna be really cool. Hopefully, as you said, we will be able to do them. Those SGPs. We are working very closely with the Lithuanian SGP as well. I'm a bit worried about this one. I hope it's gonna still be okay because it's the NATO who is doing the air policy in the Baltics, and yeah, maybe they're gonna have an increased activity and the flying area is gonna be reduced. So we are monitoring this. For Sweden, they are gonna do. I can already tell you they're gonna do military exercises as well in Sweden at that time. It was already planned before all of this happened, basically. So we're gonna have as well a reduced flying area, but it should be really okay for SGP. It's no issue. And then we'll see for Poland. It's very south of Poland, Zar, close to the Czech Republic. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, we are monitoring those first events, and hopefully it will all be good. Okay, so we are on the 2D animation, and I think the pilots are very close to the start now. So we are back live in Condor 3. The race did not start yet, but yeah, as you can see, there is a skin that a lot of pilots are using today. Ukraine skin, actually, that you will see quite often, apparently, from what I heard. So they are waiting close to the line. It's much easier than SGP. We will not monitor the right turns and so on today because it's a lot of work to do. Today we have 140 pilots competing. We just ask pilots to be very careful at the start for the first few kilometers because they are all going to be on the ridges, flying very fast. So be aware of what's going on around you, behind you, and so on. So yeah, just be careful with this. Don't fly too fast at start, and it should work very well then.
Yeah, how many minutes do we have left?
6 minutes left. So 6 minutes before start.
Somewhere on the screen, or
no, it's not on the screen.
Okay, it's on the upper left corner or somewhere, perhaps. Or...
No, yeah, it is usually on the upper left, but we don't have it in this spectate mode. Yeah. So maybe, yeah, we will continue a bit with Condor 3, and maybe in a few minutes or after the start of the race, we can get back to the briefing, just showing the weather and the task again for the delegates for them to see what's going on and what's the task today. So I can explain again for a few seconds. So the pilots are getting ready. You can see 6 minutes. I think it's going to be very tense, this first start. Was it always okay for you, Stefan, when you were flying the SGP, the start? How do you feel when you start?
You need a lot of practice to make a proper start, and then at the beginning you think you should be really at the point at the perfect time at the start line, but there's also some kind of tactical flying. Some ones don't want to be the first because you can follow the others, so it is not the biggest disadvantage if you are a few seconds too late at the start line. But you really need to take care of the other pilots, and also when climbing somewhere after the start line, so many gliders are heading into the same direction, and yeah, you really need to look outside, otherwise it's some kind of dangerous.
Yeah. And would you change anything in the SGP rules if you had the opportunity to?
I'm not completely sure if the weight limit, or the what do you call it,
The wing loading.
Wing loading limit is
perfect
perfect for the
one, yeah.
gliders we have at the moment, because the Ventus 3 has a larger wing area, so there it's a little bit better perhaps. So perhaps this is one rule which maybe could be changed just slightly, so that every glider is nearly the same. But it was really great to fly in Bosnia with the ASG29 as well. I had not really a disadvantage, I would say, to the newer generation gliders, and yeah, at a qualifying Grand Prix, it's also about the pilots, and I made so many mistakes and so on. But it is a lot of fun to compete there, and I have not the experience of the world final, how the pilots are and how close everything is.
It will come.
And also the tactics, it's somehow different to flying a normal competition, and you need to get used to it, you need to train for it and so on. It's it's not so easy.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, less than 3 minutes before the opening of the start line. Alil, we say hi to Alil from Turkey. So he was one of the 20 pilots competing in the world final last year. And he will start his training. So Alil, he started flying during the first lockdown using Condor. He never flew for real. And he was a really, really good pilot last year. And he will start flying for real as from this year or next year, depending on how it's going with university, as we can see. So yeah, it's really nice to have those people worldwide coming and competing.
And then also getting into a real glider afterwards, because they know the sport already, and they can also learn how the tactical part and the thermal flying and everything works. So they have an advantage later on also in the real glider training.
Yeah, definitely. I need to tune in to the IGC meeting apparently, so I will let you comment on this. And
Okay.
and I'm coming. You say, and Brian is calling me right now.
Okay. Yeah, then good luck and see you soon.
Thanks.
Yeah. If you have any questions, you can ask them on my YouTube channel, or I'm not sure, on Twitch or Discord. And we have someone who helps us to get these questions into the live stream. Team flying is not allowed in Grand Prix flying, at least not in the real Grand Prix flying. You need to stay on the frequency, on the competition frequency. and I don't think that there's any difference in the virtual version. So they are flying with the real rules, so there is no difference. Yeah.
30 seconds.
Okay. 30 seconds left. They now try to get at the altitude and manage the speed so that they don't get any penalty points when crossing the start line. That's really a dangerous, or more or less dangerous part of the flight.
5.
5 seconds.
The gate is open.
Most of the pilots are flying more to the ridge, because there the wind is on the ridge, so they can have some energy lines already after the start. There you can see he pulled up quite a lot. In real life, you need to take care about it, not to pull up too much, because another glider could be above you. And now the race is on. Now it's hard to estimate how fast you should fly, what's the best speed. Perhaps it's even faster than in real life.
Yeah, it's going to be faster than in real life. I'm trying to set up the screen. I think now the IGC delegates can watch the race. Is it correct?
And at the moment, we can't see if the pilots have some penalty points from the start line, if they are too early or too high or have too much energy. And that's also in real life. You only see these penalty points afterwards.
Yeah, so we are back in live with Stefan. The race has started already. For the delegates, you would get a much better image, much better quality if you go to the virtualgliding.fai.org/live on the website. Yeah, you can get the live streaming working properly, so you get a better image. But I am here with you and with Stefan Langer. So if you don't know Stefan, he's flown a lot of world events already. You may have seen it on YouTube. He's doing a lot of videos. I think you went to Bitterwasser as well recently, Stefan?
Yes, I was in Namibia this winter, Bitterwasser and Veronica flying. Yeah, was a great time, but not competition flying, just testing some gliders and coaching. Yeah, was a great time.
Yeah, was really cool. Did the pilots started the race? Yes, I think so.
Yes, they
indeed
had a great start, and now they are in the first thermal, I think so. We can't see any cloud above this one, but
yeah.
over there is the cloud. Yeah, that looks great. And also some wave clouds, some lenticularis clouds in the background, but I don't think that it's necessary to use wave here during this fast race.
No, I don't think so indeed. Can we get the list of pilots, please, on the screen, so that the delegates can see who's flying and with which gliders? I think it's gonna come. Yeah, so on the left you can see there it's the tables where you can just check the competition numbers and so on.
And the distance already flown. And this is the one from Condor, with the complete names and also with the type of gliders.
Yeah, so we have more than 140 pilots flying today. We have split them into 4 servers, so there are 40 pilots per server today, for obvious safety reasons, because it was a regatta start for the pilots. So it's much easier to explain that to the public, how it works and so on with that Regatta Start wall. So now they are climbing after 12 kilometers into the first thermal. It's a 120 kilometers task, and it should be quite fast, very easy for the pilots today. We have applied a maximum wind loading of 48 kilogram per meter square, so they don't fly with full loading today. The first pilot, Red, is actually at 17.5 kilometers after the start line. And as you can see, some of them with splits, some going to the right and some to the left. You can see turn point 1 is straight ahead. So it's going to be interesting to see what the pilots do now. And I was quite surprised actually to see the pilots taking the first thermal here. I thought they would just continue and fly fast to the ridges.
But I think there are two groups. There was one group thermaling, and the other ones just kept on going. And yeah, so here the first one just flew straight. I think so.
That's cool. So that's the first one. Marcin, I think is from Poland, Marcin.
And here you can see that it would be perhaps even better to be a little bit higher on the ridge, because the ridge is better. There's a little bit more wind in there, and you have more options to fly straight. So also in real life, this is a big point of decision, how low you want to fly there in the valley, or how high you want to stay on the mountain, or even on the cloud base.
Yeah, exactly, Stefan. Yeah, can you zoom out completely? So just about the race. So they've started where all the mess is actually. You can see on the right, just next to Innsbruck in Austria. Then they are going to turn point 1, and they have two options. Some of them took a thermal and went to the northern option there. To take some ridges, but actually the best ridges are on the southern side of the track. So they split it to two parts, and we will see what's the best option for the pilots now.
It's really an interesting task to see the different routes, which one is better, and I don't know for which one I would or which one I would have chosen. Most probably the southern one, because the gap is smaller in the next valley here on the southern route, and I think the mountains are somehow higher there.
Yeah,
but I'm not completely familiar with this area there. I started or during my glider trainings about, I think, 12 years ago, I was in Reute. It's about the first turn point there in this area. I flew with an instructor and made there my first mountain flight. But yeah, other than that, I'm not so often there in this area.
Yeah, I've had a question from the IGC delegates, which is, can you explain the scoring? So basically, we are using a website which is called Condor.club. That's a website that the Condor community has been using for more than 15 years now, and they are very used to doing contests, and particularly the scoring method. So there is actually already a scoring based in Condor. Then there is the scoring for FAI and IGC stuff and so on. So we will just take for today the basic scoring of the of world events, WGCs, with 1,000 points, and then decreasing depending on the performance. So a performance-based scoring today, and not a Grand Prix SGP scoring. But we have decided to start with a Regatta Start for everyone today, so you can see more gliders, and it's a bit more dynamic than if we have normal start line where everyone can start when he wants. Otherwise, we would have a lot of pilots waiting. Just like in real life, they could wait for 3 hours before starting, and we kind of force them to start when we want them to start with that Regatta Start. So yeah, it's just going to be a performance-based scoring like the classic FAI rules on Annex 3.
It looks like the leading pilot first took the southern route and then went to the northern direction, but he's at the first place at the moment. Would be nice to see the altitude, if he is really low or if he is higher than the others even. Yeah. Now they all have this big gap which they need to cross, and then they need to connect to the next thermals or ridges. But I think the ridges are not so connected anymore, so they need to focus also on thermal flying.
Yeah, so I'm having quite a lot of questions from the IGC delegates right now. So I'm trying to tell you the questions, guys, and then I will answer. So the question was, how do the pilot make their decision now in flight? How do they decide that they go right or left or whatever? Well, actually, you can answer that as well, Stefan. Just the pilots fly just like real pilots, and they check if the ridge is good, if the thermals are good, and they make their decision like this. Do you have something to add, Stefan?
Yeah, you can prepare. If you already know the task previously, you can prepare the task, you know the area, the wind direction and everything, and there you can have the rough plan where to fly. But of course, you need to make spontaneous decisions where the cumulus clouds are looking better and so on, where they are developing to find their thermal. So
yeah, so
it's
yeah,
like in a real flight.
Exactly. So yeah, the IGC delegates cannot hear you unless they go to your YouTube channel or to the Twitch or what we've set up. Basically, they can only hear me because I'm connected to the Zoom session of the IGC plenary as well. So that's why I kind of take stuff from there and talk about it there. So yeah, Stefan was basically explaining that we just make decisions just like in normal flying, and they are used to it now. Actually, before, when we were doing this eSports stuff, when we started doing this, we realized that it was not safe enough, and pilots wanted to take very risky decisions and so on. And now they are more relaxed and they understand that it's not worth it, and that you should just fly just like in normal life, and it works much better like this. You just perform well, and then when you get back in the real aircraft, and you still take reasonable sporting risks, if I can say this like this. So now the pilots are approaching turn point 1 right now. So with 2 groups, but as you can see, some people from the southern group are going to the north side to be able to reach turn point 1 easier. That's Condor 3 back. Thanks a lot. Condor 2, sorry.
So it looks like the southern route was the better one at the moment, or at the beginning, the southern one, and then connecting to the northern route is the better position.
Yeah, probably. And now it's going to be very interesting because so the wind comes from the south, and they will have to go to the south. So they will have the wind in front of them, and if they are too low after that first turn point, maybe it's going to be a bit difficult to get to turn point 2 there.
Some made thermal there or got into the thermal.
Yeah,
they are climbing.
Yeah, would be interesting if we can go there. I don't know if we actually can do that now. I can take question through the Zoom, Brian. Yeah, so the question from Brian is, can I explain how virtual series World Championship would work? How pilots would be able to enter via different servers basically around the world to be able to race. So basically the plan that we have in our mind is to do this virtual series next European winter, so between mid-October and mid-December. So it will be spread over 14 weeks. Why? Because we try to stick to the classic the FAI rules, basically. So and we want a lot of pilots to compete. So we will only get 2 races per week. That's the aim, and 7 weeks of racing. So 7 times 2 is 14 days then. And you will be able to choose from Monday to first day. You will be able to fly race 1, and then from first day to Sunday, you will be able to fly race 2, and so on until you've done all the races, and you will be able to select any server you would like at like 8 p.m. UTC, or then it can be at 4 a.m. For the people in Australia or whatever. We will have a lot of servers for the people worldwide to be able to join and to fly this event. They will not all fly at the same time, but they will be ranked with the same scoring system, within the same scoring system. They will all fly the same races with the same weather and so on. And we have worked a lot to counter all the cheating issues that there could be with this, because obviously if a pilot fly on Monday, he will have less chances to have a good ranking compared to someone who was flown on Wednesday evening, for example, and has already got all the information. So we have quite a few tools to counter any kind of cheating thing. So it's not that difficult for us to manage that. Same for the entries, to check that everyone can have an FAI license is very easy to do as well, and we can block the entries, because how it works is that they register through a website, and then they get the password for the servers via the website as well. And if there is something wrong with the registration and so on, we can just block them, and they don't receive a website the code, the password to enter the server, and then they can do the race basically. Is it well explained, Brian, or not? But yes, exactly. So at the end of the 14 days of you would get a cumulative score indeed, and then the top finisher is the winner of the event indeed, just like a World Gliding Championship, a classic one. It will be exactly the same. We just need to adapt that due to virtual problems. Everyone is not playing at the same time and so on. We need to adapt, but it's as well, just like today, a performance-based scoring, which is a bit different with SGP, with the position-based scoring and so on. So yeah, how many competitors could compete? Brian asked, to the virtual World Championships. Basically, there is no limit, and that's something very, very interesting, because as you know, in real life, it's only 50 pilots per class for obvious safety reasons, and now we can have basically unlimited pilots per class. What we can do to keep safety reasonable is still split them into different servers with maximum 50 pilots. Like today, we decided that 40 pilots was the maximum for this kind of race. So we don't have more than 40 pilots. And they are split into 4 servers, so everyone can fly safely and then enter their flight into the website to get their scoring. But yeah, it's very unlimited, and we want people from all over the world, not only the the European guys or Australian or American. So we want to be able to spread this to as many nationalities as we can. We have Halil Koroglu from Turkey, who's flown the virtual SGP World Final last year, and we don't often have, for example, Turkish pilots coming into World Gliding Championship. So it's really good, honestly, to develop gliding worldwide. This kind of initiative, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of pilots coming from other countries that what we are used to do and what we are used to see in world gliding events. So a question from Ian was, in real life, you can basically outland, like you don't perform well and you end up in the field. So how does it work in virtual as well, and the scoring associated to that? So basically, it's exactly the same as for the real world. Pilot can outland as well. There are fields on Condor as well. You just outland, and then you send your files, and you get your scoring. That is not good, but it is what it is. If you didn't perform well, then you will get for sure lower ranking. But yeah, it's exactly the same, and there is no differences between real and virtual flight and scoring on this. Yeah, so yeah, good question from delegate from Germany, Christoph Geisler. Is asking, how can you make sure that people cannot cheat, basically, but knowing in advance where the thermals are and so on. So basically, if you recover the flight plan from the task, you could be able to do that. What we do between the different servers is that they get the same settings, the same weather settings, but actually it's not exactly true, because there is a small trick, which means that you can change a little bit where the thermals are placed. So that's the organization that is able to do that. We have really a lot of experts of Condor in working on this and working in this initiative, actually, and they know all the things you can do, and they know as well how you can cheat and how to counteract the cheating issue. And we are working as well with the Rose Perkant, who has created Condor, and who knows all the kind of issues you could have. And basically, we have tools that we can use to analyze the flights to check if there has been no cheating. Basically, that's how it works. But from the beginning, we basically avoid pilots being able to see where the thermals are by just blocking this option. It's very easy in the game. For all events, they are not able to see the thermals. They cannot see them. It's just like in real life, they cannot see them. Yeah, we have a comment from Christian. Very cool setup there with VR goggles and virtual PA. Yeah, it's from Bosiec from Poland that we thank. Is using virtual reality. So that's something that a lot of pilots are doing, actually, in virtual. In Condor, it's not easy to be aware what's around you if you don't have a joystick, for example, and you cannot move your head with just a small computer screen. Well, it's not easy sometimes. So some pilots are flying virtual reality here, and they can see what's going on around them. So it's much easier for your airmanship to make sure that you are safe and everyone around you is safe. And it really brings you into the flight. You feel like you're flying for real. It's really nice for those pilots using it. So that's term point 2 that some pilots are reaching now, I think.
You can also use some head tracking solutions if you only have a display. So you can use your webcam, or there are some specific devices for head tracking so that the display will move when you turn your head just a little bit. That's really helpful. Otherwise, just using the screen and the toggle on the joystick is not great.
Yeah, indeed, you can use track IR and stuff like this to be able to watch around you. I had a question. I'm sorry, I didn't hear all of it, but I think you said what about webcams? But which webcams are you talking about? I mean, is it webcam about the IR stuff to move your head around, or what about webcam? What we are doing now, like to see us? I think it was Jürgen who asked this. Ah, yeah. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, you have artificial noise. So yeah, you cannot hear it during the live streaming and so on. But you have the noise of the wind. You have the noise of the atmosphere around you. You have the variometer. You have everything working just like in real life. Basically, you can hear even when a glider is flying just next to you. You can hear a little bit the sound of it if it's really close to you. So yeah, you have all the sound thing in Condor. So we are following Norbert from Hungary, I think. And Norbert is very active in Condor, and he has organized a lot of events already with Condor. So that's a small hill in the middle of the valley that will bring them back to the reporting point, then back to Innsbruck to land. Yeah, so what Condor is, so Condor is a software, so the video game we are using to be able to train new pilots. For example, in France, we are using it a lot now for the basic training. So it's much easier. For example, you jump in the sim in the morning and your instructor can teach you how to turn left, right, and so on. And then in the afternoon, you take off for real, and you do it in the air. And usually we realize as well that the trainee were much better at flying when they tried when they tried this in simulation in the morning. Anyway, so yeah, Condor 2 is the software we are using, and there are going to be Condor 3 coming out at the end probably of this year. I don't know. I think this year. It was announced back in September that Condor 3 was under development. So I hope it's going to come out, and it's going to be even better with Condor 3, because now in Condor the weather is very homogeneous, meaning that you set the wind from this direction with this speed, you set the wave and so on, and it's very homogeneous. And now with the new Condor 3, so coming out later, you will be able to set weather very properly. Like you will be able to see to set well, in this area, I want it to be not good at all. This area, very, very good, strong thermals. There, the wind will be like this. You will probably have some convergence lines and so on. So it's going to be very, very interesting for the development of gliding to have Condor 3. Same for the gliders. They are very well developed. The flight models are really, really nice, very close to the real life, which is not the case so far for Flight Simulator. Even the last one, they have big issues with flight models, especially with gliders. And they have big issues as well for weather, because they are using a live weather system in Flight Sim. And you cannot fly with live weather system when you want to do these kind of things. We often fly in the evening and so on. So you need to deactivate this to be able to work. And it just does not work with Flight Sim so far. So we are using Condor, which is really a perfect tool for training of the pilots, for improving their skills. For example, you are lacking of cross-country instructors in your club. You can start to understand how the sky work with Condor, and then you can start to do some contests. That's the aim of what we are doing now, and just teaching them how to race, and then hopefully they will come and do the same in real life. Maybe build their own airfield, aero club, and so on in underdeveloped gliding countries. So that's really something we are looking forward to. So Stefan, how is it going now? I think the pilots are flying back to. Maybe you can have the view from. Yeah,
they are
cool.
flying back in this valley. They use the smaller ridge, this island in the middle, and I think they have the final glide path already, so they don't need to gain any altitude. But yeah, I didn't see the numbers. Looks like a great and fast race. Can we see somehow the average speed? Wow. 182 kilometers per hour. And it will still increase till the end.
Yeah, just Brian Sprickley asked you a question, Stefan. Can you talk about SGP a bit and about each event and how it works? If you remember with the national events and the world thing.
So you have qualifying Grand Prix. So I think we have seen it today, 8 or 10 or so within, I think, 2 years. And they are not in one country, they are in different countries. So that's really great that you have the possibility to get to another country, to fly there, to experience new areas. And then you need to be there, I think, first or second of this race. There are a maximum of 20 competitors, and the result, the first one and the second one, they will be invited for the finals. And you can...
Yes, I've got it.
Okay.
I'll let you continue, Stefan, for a few moments.
Okay. Yeah. So, and you can also compete to as many qualifying Grand Prix as you want. So you can go wherever you want. If you have a lot of time, you can try much more.
Yeah, I understand. Thanks a lot. Well, I'll get back to you and to her then. Thanks. Merci. Yeah, thanks a lot. So we are approaching the finish line now. There are only 12 kilometers left, something like this. Yeah, 13. Wojciech from Poland, I think, is leading the race now. In his GS3, and there's something we can do in Condor that we could do soon in real life. You can get basically the skin that you like. So for the first virtual Sailplane Grand Prix, we selected 20 pilots from 20 countries, and the pilots needed to be already well trained on Condor, and they were all very, very experienced and very good on Condor, and some of them were even really good in real life. So we created skins for all of them, and basically it was the skin of their own country. So we had a skin for French, for Belgium, for Germany, Australia, Japan, and so on. We had skins, and the pilots all flew with their national skins, so that the public could watch and understand that they were watching currently the pilot from Japan and so on. So it was really, really nice for us. It helps a lot the understanding of the sport. And today there are a lot of pilots flying in yellow and blue. I'm not gonna explain you why. I think you already understand it, but there is a strong community working here, and I think a lot of them decided to fly with those colors that some guy created today. So the finish line, minimum altitude is at 800 meters today. So it should be enough for Wojciech. But then, we will have to check the penalties because we said that it was 48 kilograms per meter square. Maybe some pilots rushed into connecting and they went for full wing loading. So it will have to be analyzed as usual. Every time you start something new and people are not aware of the regulation, then you always have this kind of issue. So we will see. But apparently, Wojciech has won this first event, this demo for you. Is approaching the reporting point, and 5 kilometers left before the finish line. So 800 meters minimum. Try to keep it like this. And we are approaching Innsbruck, which is the very famous international airport.
A close finish, I think.
Yeah, a very close finish indeed.
He has more energy, he's higher, and I think Alpha Victor 7 will win.
I think so. Who's behind them? Maybe we'll see that in a few seconds. That's very good. It was 121.8 kilometers. Well done. Congratulations. And as you can see, they're going fast now. About 20 pilots coming in for the final, for the finish line. Great work. So 800 meters minimum, they will have to pull a bit. Things that we tend to avoid, but we didn't apply any restriction on the arrival, just like for the SDP, because it's performance based with the FAI rules, classic rules. Now you don't have this kind of rules with low altitude between reporting point and finish line. There is nothing like this in the classic rules. Brian, Jill, coming in the GS3 as well. A lot of pilots flew the GS3 18 meters today. Only 10 pilots on the Ventus 3. They had the option as well to fly the SG29 or the DG 808, and even the GS1. They had the option to take the GS1, which is for sure one of the best at in 18 meter class at 48 kilo per meter square. They are flying fast. So we have Alpha Victor 7, the first one to cross the finish line at 192.4 kph. Then Sierra Oscar Lima 192 kph. X-Ray Alpha very close as well. Marcin May 191. We have Eco Uniform Sierra, Spanish pilot at 191 kph. A33, KMI, MYR, and Charlie November. Then the French pilot Donna Pierluigi in 269 at the 10th position to complete this top 10 with almost 190 kph. That's quite a lot. That's why that's what I expected, because we wanted to have a race which lasts only 40 minutes for you to be able to see how it works a bit with only a few thermals and ridges and so on. So usually we try to do races for 145 minutes minimum, maximum 2 hours. Because we want to have a good live streaming with a condensated and dynamic flight. It's very important to promote the sport to have a dynamic flight. So yeah, it's a bit shorter than the real flight, but for the virtual World Championship at the end of this year, it will be longer flights. So they will be able to fly from Monday to Thursday, for example, for the first race, but it will be longer flights than just 1 hour and 45 minutes. So they will have really to spend some time on the sim to fly 3 hours or something like this on big task. So it's going to be very interesting. Yeah, thanks a lot, Peter. So Peter Eriksen, the president of the IGC, wanted to thank everyone who worked on the project and on the live streaming today, and even to the pilots who are here flying today to give this demo to the delegates of the IGC. So thanks a lot, Peter, and yeah, I'm sure it will develop this kind of activities, and hopefully, well, I hope that the delegates will talk to their NACs so we can have that license in the future for the virtual pilots, so we can have FAI events, official events. That's very good to hear. So thanks a lot to everyone from the IGC and the FAA who watched this demo today. And yeah, we hope to see you all for the next events. And if you want to reach us, don't hesitate. Just ask Brian or Peter, and they will forward me an email or request you have, or any info you would like to ask. Or you can go to the website, and there is a contact form as well to ask anything you would like. Thanks a lot. That's for sure. Thanks a lot to you. Merci. Thanks a lot, Peter. So we are back in the 3D studio with Stefan. So sorry, because I was talking with a lot of people on the other side with a Zoom meeting with all the delegates. They had plenty of questions. So yeah, we are not able to talk a lot together, Stefan, for the race and to comment. I mean, widely the race. But yeah, it was really fun. Thanks a lot, Stefan, for joining us today. It was
Thanks for
super
having
cool.
me. It was great, and I'm really looking forward to see more of these races online. And I'm also looking forward to join them.
Yeah, I'm sure you will be there. Now you have a lot of things to do with Condor in the winter. When you don't fly, you can still continue, and even for your channel, it's quite good, I think. So
yeah,
it's cool. It's really cool. Well, thanks a lot to everyone. Then we will finish now. If you have some question, you can always go to the website virtualgliding.fai.org. Yeah, we will soon launch a poll, as I said, on Discord. So join the Discord channel. All the infos. If you want more info, you can go back to the beginning of the video of this live streaming, and I explain really in deep detail the initiative and the full project and so on. So I don't think I have much more to say. For the pilots, don't forget to send your FTR files into condor.club so we can check that indeed everything is working properly, because it's the first time we are applying some changes on the scoring site with Thierry from Condor Club. Voilà, thanks a lot, Stefan, again. And we will see you very soon. We will launch the registration in about 10 days for the virtual gliding, virtual sailplane Grand Prix, sorry. So let's keep in touch.
Yes. Then see you soon.
Thanks a lot, Stefan. See you all.